For this project, we're going to work with the rolling ball template. The rolling ball template is available from ue4resources.com. Click on the 3D projects, scroll down to the rolling ball project, click the download link, unpack the downloaded file, and then open the project in Unreal Engine. When you do that, you'll be presented with an empty level and a complete working game for you to modify. Let's play the game to see how it works by clicking the play button and using the W, A, S, and D key to roll the ball around and pick up the coins. So the idea is that you pick up these coins, which is your objective, in the allotted amount of time, and you try to avoid running into the spiky ball that's spinning around. And if you successfully do that, you go to the U1 screen, and if you happen to run into the spiky ball, that will end your game and you will have to try again. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn about duplicating existing objects and set up a more detailed or more in-depth game using this template. To start off with, I'm going to select the text that says rolling template and delete it so that it doesn't appear in my level. So select it with your left mouse button and then press your delete key to remove it from the level. The next thing we're going to learn about is duplicating objects. So select one of the coins, hold down your hold down your Alt key and drag with either the X or the Y axis arrow, and that will create a duplicate of the object as you drag it. You can select multiple objects by holding down the Control key and left clicking on them. So I'm going to delete the one that I just dragged off of there by having it selected and pressing the delete key. I'm going to select the first one with the left mouse button, then hold down the Control key and left click on each of the coins that are in this circle. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to duplicate all of these coins. I'm going to hold down the right mouse button and use the W, A, S, and D key to maneuver myself around a little bit. You can also use Q and E to go up and down, and I'm doing that so that I can get to the other coins. Then hold down the Control key again, left click to select the rest of the coins. It may take a couple times to get it right. You can always deselect everything by just left clicking on one of them without the Control key held down. So having demonstrated that, let me reselect all the coins that we're interested in. Get a good angle to get at this one. There we go. Control left click, Control left click. Now with the keyboard everything released and the mouse everything released, hold down the Alt key, left click on one of the arrows to duplicate and drag that off of there, and that duplicated all of them. I'm going to duplicate the spiky ball to make my course a little bit more difficult, so I'm going to left click on it, hold down the Alt key, drag that off of there, hold down the Alt key again, release and hold down the Alt key and put that one over there. And then I'm going to put a couple of more obstacles that are not pickups or deadly, if you will. So I'll grab one of these cubes from this stack of cubes here, and I'll hold down the Alt key, and I'm going to pull this one off in the X axis to bring it over. Now you'll notice that that cube is off the ground. If we want it to sit exactly on the ground with that object selected, you tap the End key, and that drops the object right down on the ground. I'm going to duplicate that a couple more times with the Alt key, drag that over there, maybe put one over here, and maybe another one over here, just to make things a little trickier. Of course, that kind of protects this one. I'm also going to add a couple of coins outside of these two circles, so we have to actually maneuver around. So Alt key again and left drag on one of the arrows, and let's do one there as well. Okay, that looks pretty good to start with. Let's try out the game. So click play and see what happens. Now, what you might find is that the amount of time is not enough anymore after you've made your game have more obstacles. So I'm going to show you how to edit that next after I see if this is actually winnable. Looks like it's going to be, it's kind of tough. And you can feel free to add pretty much any design you want. We're going to go through a test phase where our classmates will try the design that we come up with, and we'll get some feedback. We'll do a feedback loop. It looks like I wasn't able to complete that in the amount of time that was allotted, which was 40 seconds. So let's adjust that. I'm going to go into the BP game mode that is found in the content rolling BP, which stands for blueprints folder. BP underscore game mode is the blueprint for the game mode, and that's where all of the gameplay is held in this particular game. So double click on that to open it, and that will open into the event graph for this blueprint. If it doesn't open into the event graph, if you're only seeing the viewport or the construction script, click over to the event graph so you can see it. So the way the event graph works is when the begin play event fires, when the game starts in this case, we'll run a sequence. And the way sequences work is they do the first one, the 0th, then they do the second one, the first, to completion. So the first sequence is the one that we're interested in. It follows this wire to get all actors of a particular class, and that class is the blueprint coin actor. Those are the coins that we see scattered around the level, and it outputs an array of all of the actors of that particular class that it found. We then take the length of that array, so we're following this wire here, and set the variable total coins count to the length of that array. That tells us how many coins we start with. Here's where we get the initial time. The remaining time in the level is initially set by the variable called initial time. That is right here, and that's an accessor to the initial time variable. And here's the details over on the right side about the initial time variable. It's a float variable, and its initial time is set to 40. So I'm going to change that for this level to 50, and I'm going to click the compile button and then the save button, and then close out of the BP game mode. Now when I start this game again, you'll see that I have 50 seconds as opposed to 40, and hopefully that'll be enough to complete the level. I'm not going to run this through to completion. I'll let you do that with your designs. So go ahead and start duplicating objects. You can even bring in additional objects or make objects such as a ramp or some kind of obstacle that you have to jump over, and spend at least 40 minutes doing that and play testing it. And then we'll have a feedback session where we'll walk around and try each other's game and write in our feedback forms any suggestions that we might have. So good luck, and we'll see you in about 40 minutes.